Okay.
Do you want me to stop recording or you want it
Start,
recorded?
start, start.
Start. Okay. Okay.
You can continue in English because we don't need translators because we are doing in English.
Right. We're doing it in English.
And each and everyone enjoyed the class. How you like the class, Miss Olga? Very good. Allah bless you.
What happened to all the other people?
They all yeah they someone died in their family, so they went to their death ceremony.
Rechlina MS. Rechlina
Yeah,
MS.
death ceremony.
Okay. Are you ready to start?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. So I want to say that it has been a terrible, terrible thing that happened to our class. And it doesn't just happen to one person, it happens to the whole class because we are all one.
Yes.
And we said that the Noahide laws are like walls in a house. And when you walk into a wall, it's going to hurt. And this evil man, he walked into three walls. Three walls. He walked into the Noahide law against stealing because causing someone pain is stealing. He ran into the wall of forbidden relationships because this was not a relationship blessed by God. And he went against the Noahide law against murder because somebody who goes through this, they feel like they're dead. They feel like they died. This is how people feel when they go through that situation. So that's three walls: stealing, forbidden relationships, and murder. And the reason that he's able to do these things is because he breaks the first wall. He bumps into the first wall, which is the wall against idol worship. This man worships idols, and idols don't tell you whether something is right or wrong. Idols don't give you an idea of what is right or wrong. Idols don't think, they don't talk. So if somebody worships idols, they're going to wind up doing the other sins because they have no sense of what's right and what's wrong. And that's what we're going to talk about today, what's right and what's wrong. Um, because this person bumped into these three walls, he's going to go through a lot of pain. Like we said, it hurts. He's going to go to jail. And in jail, he's going to suffer. He's going to suffer for many, many years. If when he was a child, he learned these Noahide laws and he took the oath to be a Noahide, this never would have happened. You know, he would have grown up in a proper way. So the question is, what does this mean for our class? You know, and I was thinking a lot about it. What does it mean for our class? And I think that it means that we're doing a very, very good job. Our class is very, very, very good class. And our light is spreading throughout
Yes.
India. And the darkness has to fight back. So when we see darkness fighting back, it means we're doing a good job. We're spreading the light. And the light is kind of like an alarm clock. You know, with an alarm clock, it goes off and the person is asleep and he doesn't want to wake up. The alarm clock says, wake up. Here's the truth. The truth is here. It's time to wake up. And what does the person do? He smacks it. He smacks the alarm clock. So that's what happens here. And it happens to you and it happens to me. A lot of times I get smacked. But I know that I'm being smacked because I'm doing a good job. I'm spreading the light. I'm like the alarm clock. everyone hates the alarm clock in the beginning because they don't want to wake up. They want to be in darkness. But in the end, everybody loves their alarm clock because once they're awake, they realize that they like being awake. They like knowing the truth. The truth is hard to hear in the beginning, but in the end, you're happy you have the truth. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll keep going.
We have some questions. Maybe when you finish the class, so we can continue with questions. So,
Okay, we'll have questions at the end of the class.
yeah, we have questions. We have doubts with your previous class, and which we are not able to get a clear overview. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem. At the end of the class. At the end of the class.
How long will be the class?
Until like 10:40 to 10:45. And
What's the time there now?
I'm sorry, it's not India time. It's 10:12 right now. So we're
Okay.
talking about like, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes more. 20 minutes more. Is that okay?
So what time is what time up to what? It's 10:12, right? Up to 10:40.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
So this class, the task of this class is to become bigger, not smaller, to become bigger. And when we're bigger, we become stronger. And when we're stronger, we're safer. But we need to be a more united class. I mean, every man that goes to this class, if they were here, I would ask them to look around and look at the women in the class and understand that women are the responsibility of the men. So if any woman in this class doesn't feel safe, it's the responsibility of the man to make them feel safe, to walk them home, to walk them wherever they need to go. Every man is responsible here for every woman. So every woman needs to be protected, and it's up to the man to do that. We also need to strengthen in getting people to take the oath, because we see that society is in chaos. And the fact that this type of thing could happen is absolute chaos. The person that this happened to enters into the most righteous of people in the world. I'll explain that later, but the person this happened to enters into the most a group of the most righteous people in the world. For one reason, because you are getting this dangerous person off of the streets so he cannot hurt other people. So that is tremendously good and tremendously brave thing to do that you went through. And today we're going to talk about right and wrong, and where does right and wrong come from? How do we know if something is wrong? So this is a topic called morality. You've heard of morality, right? You know what morality is? Morality is right and wrong. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. So we know there was a boy named Abraham, and he taught people not to worship idols. When he was 99 years old, God told him to have a circumcision. Now, non-Jews do not need to have a circumcision. This is something special for the Jewish people to have a circumcision. And then when he was 100 years old, he had a son named Isaac. And Isaac became one of the fathers of the Jewish people. Abraham was a father of all people, and Isaac became a father of the Jewish people. And when he became 100 years old, God tested Abraham, because that's what God does to good people. He tests them because he wants to make good people into great people. And the evil people, he lets them live a good life. they get to live a good life, and they will be punished in the next world. The next world, they're going to be very sorry that they led a bad life. But the evil people, he'll let them live a good life, but the good people, he will test. Because he wants to turn you from being a good person to being a great person. When you serve God, like we're serving him now, and we do it even when other people are having a good time, like sometimes Nachman says, I don't understand. These evil people, they're having a good life. They're having a good time. They're dancing. They're drinking. Everything's going well for them. And for us, we're being attacked. Someone in this class, parents, obviously just died. And it's a hard life. To be a good person is a hard life because God will always test you to make you from being good to being great. And the greater the struggle is, the harder the struggle is, the greater the reward. So God wants to reward us as much as possible. So he gives us tests. And Abraham got a test. God said, I want you to take your son as a child sacrifice. Now, child sacrifice is something that was done by the idol worshipers many years ago. I don't know if it's still done now. There might be some people that still do it. But child sacrifice was very common for people who worshiped idols. Worshiping idols and child sacrifice just went together. And Abraham used to go around telling everyone that child sacrifice is wrong and evil. But now God tells Abraham to do his own child sacrifice, that he should do a child sacrifice. He should sacrifice his son Isaac. Isaac was the son born to him when he was 100 years old. He was his most beloved son. He was going to keep the flame of Judaism alive. Everyone was going to learn about the one God because of Isaac. And yet, God said, make him a sacrifice. Sacrifice him as a korban, as a sacrifice. And Abraham not only did it, he not only went to do it, he didn't actually do it, but he went to do it with excitement. He wanted to do it. He took Abraham to a specific mountain called Mount Moriah. And it says that they walked together. In other words, they walked together. They both equally wanted this sacrifice to happen. He built a wooden altar and he put Isaac on the altar. He ties him up. And at this point, Abraham is crying and his tears go from himself, from his eyes into Isaac's eyes. The angels are also crying that he's going to do this sacrifice. He lifts his arm with the knife, and an angel comes and says, stop. He says, stop. We realize that you fear God. We understand that you fear God. You don't have to do this. You don't have to sacrifice your child Isaac. Then Abraham sees a ram caught in a bush. So Abraham grabs that ram and makes it into a sacrifice. He sacrifices the ram. And when he sacrifices the ram, he pretends like he's sacrificing his son. So when he ties it up, he says, I'm tying this ram in the place of tying my child. When he takes his knife towards him, he said, I'm taking my knife towards this ram the way that I wanted to take my knife against my son. I'm sprinkling the blood instead of sprinkling my child's blood. I'm burning this ram because I really wanted to burn my son. So why did God do this? It seems so wrong. to sacrifice a child. Not just any child, the child born to him when he was 100 years old, the child he prayed for so many years, and the child that was going to spread Judaism and light to the entire world. So we have to understand the way right and wrong works. There's two ways right and wrong can work. The first way is the way we have it now, the way we have it in exile. And the second way is the way of Judaism and the Noahide laws. The secular way to know right and wrong is that whoever is stronger decides. So Modi, your prime minister, has his ideas of right and wrong. Vladimir Putin has his ideas of right and wrong. Donald Trump has his ideas of right and wrong. Elon Musk has his ideas of right and wrong. And the media in the United States has their idea of what's right and wrong. And every day, all these people, they fight with each other verbally. They all go against each other. And whoever wins that war decides right and wrong for the day. And then the next day, they'll fight again. Every day is a new fight to decide who gets their definition of right and wrong. Tomorrow, it starts all over again. So, does this sound like a good way to determine right and wrong? With everybody fighting every single day, and the strongest survives, the strongest decides? So the answer is no. This is not a good way. This is not stable. This is not lasting. This is not healthy. This is not good. So Judaism and the 7 Noahide laws has another way. The better way to figure out what's right and what's wrong is to just listen to God. Obey God. That's all you need to do. And it's the same thing every single day. Every single day you just obey God, and what God says never changes. He doesn't change his mind. God never changes his mind. So you just listen to whatever he says today, and that will wind up being the best thing for everyone. But even when things don't look like they're right, like it didn't look right to sacrifice Isaac, but it will work out for the best in the end. It will work out for the best. And it did work out for the best because something changed when Abraham did that. Because what happened was Abraham's whole life was against child sacrifice. And he did it anyway. He did what he hated the most. So that's we learned something about relationships. That is a person willing to do for their partner that which they hate the most? Because that's true love. True love is not when everything is going great, everything is romantic, there's flowers and chocolate. That's not true love. True love is, can you do what you hate to do for the other person? And Abraham, he opened up this pipe, this ability to love someone and do things for someone, even though we hate it, and we do it anyway. Abraham opened up this new type of love, this new type of commitment. So we know that God has 10 commandments for Jews and 613 more detailed commandments. And he has 7 commandments for non-Jews, which have many details. And I want you to see the 7 Noahide laws is covered in this book. And this book these are the laws of the Noahide laws. There are many, many laws. So don't think it's just 7 laws. These 7 laws have all these details, tons of details. It's a proper code. And if you keep it, the society will sustain. The society will remain. The society will be stable. If you don't know an answer to a question, any question that you might have, you ask a rabbi, and I will send you to better rabbis than me. There are better rabbis than me. There are rabbis who know the law better than I do, like the rabbis who wrote these books. But if you have a question about anything, there's always a way to get the answer. You go to the rabbi, we go to the code, we get you an answer. There's an answer to every question about right and wrong. So we need to replace this old, broken system of right and wrong. This old system where everybody just fights with each other and the strongest survive. We need to replace that system with a system of light, a system where we know exactly what to do and we know exactly what the answer is to every question because we have God, because we have God and the rabbis who explain what God wants. If you keep the Noahide laws properly, there's never any doubt of what's right and wrong on taxes, on death, on abortion, on the way we're supposed to be buried, the way we're supposed to be married, the way we're supposed to act towards each other. There's no doubt of what to do. There's no doubt in what God wants. He gives the authority over to the rabbis to explain what he wants, and the answer is always clear. So Abraham went through a very difficult test, and because he fought against idol worship, he hated idol worship. But then there's this whole question. When we're doing the commandments, when we're doing the Noahide laws, when Abraham is fighting against idol worship, are we doing this because we think it's wrong? Or are we doing it because God thinks it's wrong? Abraham was doing so many good things, and we are doing so many good things. But we have to ask ourselves right now, are we at this class? Are we taking this class because we think it's a good idea? Or are we taking this class because God thinks it's a good idea? So which one is it? Right now, in this class, are we taking this class because we think it's a good idea or because God thinks it's a good idea? Which one? Tell me.
God thinks it is good idea.
That's right. That's right. Because if we think it's a good idea, our minds can always change. Our minds can change. Our heart can change. Our feelings change. We can't have a system where everybody gets to decide themselves what is right and wrong. We can't have a system where everybody decides why they do things. You have to do it because God said, because God's mind never changes. God's mind is always going to work out for the good. So everything has to be done because God wants. And I struggle with this every day. I have this test every day, and each one of us has this test every day because we're good people and we're doing good things. But the question is, are we doing these good things because we like good things? Or are we doing it because God says to do these things? Or God says don't do these things? It's a test that we have every single day. The test is, who are we serving? If we're doing it because we like it, we're serving ourselves. If we do it because God likes it, we're serving God. And we don't want to serve ourselves anymore. So for Abraham to be the leader of the nations, we had to make sure that he was serving God and not serving himself. So that's why we made him do the thing that he hates the most. Because if someone does the thing that he hates the most, that's how we know that they're serving God and they're not serving themselves. When you serve yourself, when you decide what's right and wrong yourself, you can come up with the most terrible ideas in the world, like Hitler, the Nazis. They murdered 6 million Jews, but they thought they were doing the right thing. They thought that they were doing the best thing for their country. And they convinced all the Germans, almost all the Germans, that what they were doing was the best thing for their country. And it was the worst idea ever in history. But if you're not listening to God, you will come up with the worst ideas in history. That will happen. There will be, if we don't listen to God, there will be more war and more Holocaust as there are now. So it's very important that we know that murder is wrong because God says it's wrong, not because we think it's wrong. Forbidden sexual relationships are bad because God says it's bad. Stealing is bad because God says it's bad. And we know that because sometimes stealing is allowed. Sometimes stealing is allowed. People might think, if my government is corrupt, then I can cheat on my taxes. The no-hide law says no. You may not cheat on your taxes, even if your government is corrupt. You have to pay your taxes according to the way it's supposed to be paid. So Abraham sacrificed everything that he believed in because God said so. And when we do things because God says so, the world will stay stable. If he would think of what he wants, the world will eventually fall apart. We have to understand, because of this, that every tragedy that happens, if God made it happen, it's going to end up being for the good. It's going to end up being for the good in this world or the next world. Everything God does is for the good. That's why I told you 2 classes ago, if anything happens that disturbs your calm, you should say, this is also for the good. This is also for the good. That's what you should say. We also learn from Abraham how to love. We explained that. Love is not doing things that make sense. Love is doing the things that don't make sense. So Abraham said, I love God even when he's doing the worst thing to me. And that's true love, because true love is not in a Disney movie, romance, Cupid. True love is someone does the wrong thing to you and you forgive them anyway. When everything is going well, that's good for you. You like that. When things are not going well, that's actually good for God because you are forced to grow as a person. So since God likes when we grow, he's going to make things harder on good people. And for the best people, he makes it the hardest because they will have the most growth. Imagine if God does something bad to a bad person, what's going to happen? The bad person is going to become even worse. He's going to say, this proves God doesn't exist. This proves God is a bad person. So it does no good for God to give tests to bad people. He only gives tests to good people because they will have the most growth. That's what the Bible says. It says, many are the tribulations of the righteous. The righteous people have the most suffering. Because from every experience that the righteous has, they get stronger and their faith gets stronger. And they're able to help other people who have that problem so that there's more kindness. And this sacrifice that Abraham had to make, we go through every single day. When we suffer, we sacrifice to God. We're sacrificing something to God. We know we're not doing it for ourselves. And this is the most precious thing to God. To know that we're not serving ourselves, to know that we're serving God, is the most precious gift. When things go difficult, they go hard, and we do it anyway, that's when you're rewarded the most. So God needed to find out, who is Abraham serving? Himself or God? And God knew that Abraham was going to pass the test. He knew he was going to pass the test. What he didn't know is that Abraham was going to jump out of bed to pass the test. He was going to jump out of bed, saddle his own donkey, grab Ishmael and Eliezer to do God's will. So that is the class. And if you have any questions, I'm just going to get a drink of water. I'll be right back.
మళ్ళీ అడిగి ఆయన చెప్తున్నాడు నువ్వు కూడా 2-3 క్వశ్చన్స్ అడగండి
Do we have should we stop recording or continue recording?
Because we can continue recording because the questions are very important. I think it will help others also.
Okay, so who has a question?
God commandments, we cannot harm the animals.
No, I do not.
We can't harm the animals. We can't take the limb of the animals in alive. But we are eating chicken and mutton. We are cutting the goats. That is not sin.
So you're asking, how are we allowed to eat animals?
Yeah.
Even the law says that
We can't harm the.
taking the limb of the live animal is
Is a sin.
forbidden.
Everything that God creates, he gives them life so he can take away their life. Anything he gives life, he's allowed to take away the life. Do you understand? Do you understand that?
Yes,
No?
Yes.
Yes.
If I give someone life,
We take the life.
you
He
give
has
the life,
life.
you can take the life. So when God first created the world, you were not allowed to eat animals. You're not allowed to eat animals. But when it came to Noah,
Up to Noah, there is all are vegetarians.
vegetarians,
Yeah.
when it came to Noah, when it came to the times of Noah, he said it's okay to eat animals, but
Yes. Sir.
it's okay to eat animals, but you cannot cause them any pain. No pain. So the way that an animal is slaughtered in Jewish slaughter, and like hopefully one day you'll have Jewish slaughtering practices, because this is important. You're not allowed to, you can eat the animal, but you cannot cause the animal any pain. So it has to be with a knife that cuts the windpipe in 1 second, and it has to be perfectly sharp. So the animal doesn't feel any pain. So the Noahide law is against causing animals pain. But if you slaughter an animal properly, it has no pain. it's a painless process. And God has given us the rules to follow so that there will be no pain for the animal. So as long as there's no pain, you're allowed to eat the animal. God gives the life, God takes the life. We don't control when we're born, we don't control when we die. God is allowed to give us the animals to eat, but he does not give us the animals to eat to cause it any pain. Yeah.
Here I saw some people cut like this only.
From the back side.
Back side, no, cut the throat like this. It will make, it will heal, it will shake. That is
Because
wrong.
it's probably not a proper slaughter, probably not a proper slaughtering, because the knife has to be very, very sharp. If the knife is a little bit dull, or if it has a little nick on it, there's a little nick,
And
it's not kosher. It's not kosher because it could cause him even a moment of pain. So the way they do it in India is probably not painless, but the way they do it in America with the Jewish Orthodox people is painless. The animal feels no pain. So we eat it, and we have a right to eat it. We're allowed to eat it, but we cannot cause it any pain. And that has to be with a very special knife and a very special movement and a very special process to make sure that it never feels any pain. Does that answer?
What about fishes? Fish?
They don't need to be slaughtered. They don't need to be slaughtered. Fish you can eat from the ocean. You can just eat fish from the ocean. You can take it from the ocean. You can eat it. You can eat it right away. It doesn't need any
Catching,
slaughter.
no? Catching.
yes, we take it out of water, then they will, they don't get oxygen, so they suffer. Then it's also wrong, no? Like,
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Some people don't fish for that reason, but God does not consider it a problem. Fish don't have the same consciousness that human beings have. I mean, that the other animals have. Their life is not the same kind of life as animals. So their suffering is not the same kind of suffering as animals. They don't feel pain in the way that animals feel pain. And that's why you're allowed to eat a fish from the ocean. You don't have to slaughter it because they don't feel pain in the same way.
Okay, they will not feel like animals.
yes.
Not in the same way. Not in the same way. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. No, next time.
But I'm gonna ask your question to another rabbi because I think it's a good question. I still think it's a good question. I mean, obviously, God does not consider it the same as an animal, but it is flopping around. So,
Yes.
why do we allow that? It's a good question. It's a good question. I don't want to say that I totally answered your question because I don't think it totally answers your question. But I'll ask other rabbis and I'll ask them. We'll see what they say.
Abraham, father guidance sense చేసేది
బిజినెస్ ఉన్నాడో చెప్తాను
ఆయన కావాలని కొంచెం అడుక్కుంటున్నాను నేను
అడుగు
నేను నీకేం పేరు
Okay.
నీ పేరు
Abraham father Terah is a idol worship businessman.
Yeah.
Like I don't know he was idol worshipper or not, but why did he encourage others like to why he was selling idols?
That was what everyone did in those days. In those days, everyone worshiped idols. So he made a business to sell idols because the whole generations from Adam all the way down to Noah
Mm.
worshipped idols, and the generations from Noah until Abraham worshipped idols. Everybody worshipped idols. In fact, Abraham was called the Ivri, and Ivri means on the side, because he was on one side and the whole world was on the other side. In other words, when Abraham was alive, he was the only person not worshiping idols. The only one. He was the first Jew, the only one not worshiping idols. Everyone was worshiping idols. So to have an idol business is a great idea. It's a great business. It's a great business to have. So something that everybody wants and everybody needs, it's going to be a really good business to have.
Yes.
Okay. So my question is, what is
I'm sure there are people in India who have stores that sell idols, right? In India, there are people that have stores.
Yes, in they are having the elephant idol worship celebrations, means festival. At that time, they will full business idol, that elephant
they will make full business of
Full
the
business.
elephant god.
elephant god.
Snake में और सिखाया ना.
Hmm?
Snake.
ये खेल रहे हैं, you haven't
I mean,
taken
if people in India have idols, that means there's idol stores. There's going to be stores, because there are going to be stores that you walk in and you just buy idols. They have only idols in the store.
అడగము నాకు.
In Adam and Eve story. In Adam and Eve story.
By the way, do you guys have a Bible? You have a Bible, a Torah?
Yes.
You? Okay, very good, very, very good. Does that have the Christian Bible or only the Jewish Bible?
Well, we have Christian Bible.
Christian Bible.
Okay.
Bible చూపించు. Bible చూపించు. Yes, Rina, to ask a question.
We need to get you a Jewish Bible. We got to get you a Jewish Bible. I'll mail it to you. I'll mail you a Jewish Bible.
Jewish Bible is Torah.
Torah, right?
Yeah.
So you're mailing a common Bible or to each of them, each of us? A common for all of us?
And then when you have the Jewish Bible and people take the oath, they will put their hand on the Bible. You take the oath with your hand on the Bible.
Put hand on the Bible.
No.
Yeah, when you take the oath.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
All together put the hands.
Just like that. Like
We have to put.
yeah, just like yeah, but I don't want you to do it with the Christian Bible, because
Okay.
Christian
It's
Bible is evil. It's evil. Yeah. So you had a question, Sarah, right?
Question that when God created Adam and Eve, everything was good. Everything, there was no evil thinking, no evil anything. Everything was good. But what thing that gave the idea for that snake
Serpent.
to create evil? Like, who gave the idea in that snake
Who gives the
to
power?
think evil? When God created everything good, then how come
Evil can be.
You
Ah.
enter into the world.
How evil existed at the time of creation,
yes,
when everything was
Was
made by God was good and
good.
pure.
pure
That
serpent?
Remember on the if one second, if you're reading the Bible, we read the Bible. Hold on a second.
Full day study just to know that.
Okay. How does the Bible start? in the beginning of God's creation of heavens and earth, when the earth was astoundingly desolate, darkness was on the surface of the deep, waters that covered the land, and the throne of God's glory hovered over the water. So one of the first things that God created was darkness.
Yes.
Darkness was one of the first creations.
Yes.
So how did the serpent get the idea to do evil? Because
Yes.
evil is one of the first things that God created. And do you know why? Do you know why God created evil?
Yes.
Do you know why?
No, no.
To make the
Yeah.
light to make the light even greater. God makes darkness because in darkness, when you make a candle, it shines so much brighter and so much more beautiful than it does during the daytime. So when does a candle work best? During the day or during the night? When does it work best?
Night.
The night, right? It works best during the night.
Yes.
The candle is most beautiful when it's in the dark. So the snake is Satan. The snake was Satan.
Yes.
Satan is there to test the good people. Satan is there to test the good people so that they become beautiful.
Satan means what? It's an evil thinking.
It is dark.
It is darkness. Like it's an evil thinking, or it is something like
God was most excited about the darkness. It says in Genesis that good, on the light he said good, and on the darkness he said very good. On the light he said good, and on the darkness he said very good. How is darkness very good? Because the light that comes out of the darkness is so beautiful, so much more meaningful than the darkness, than the light by itself. Once you add the darkness, then the light shines much, much brighter.
yes.
So like you, Sarah, you went through a dark situation, a very
Yes.
dark situation. And tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong, but
Okay.
I think that if somebody goes through that, they feel like they died.
Yes.
You feel that? You felt that?
Yes.
So that's how someone feels when they go through that. And by the way, if I'm allowed to talk, am I allowed to talk about this in front of your mother? Am I allowed to talk about this?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
So I made some notes. I just wanted to tell you a couple of things. So I see already, you went through like a death. It's like a death. But out of death comes new life, a greater life. Just like a seed, when you plant a seed, it goes in the ground. So it's like dead. The seed is dead.
Yes.
It's being buried. It's buried by the ground. It's a dead seed. And then the seed decomposes. It like breaks down, totally breaks down. And then what comes up from it? A beautiful orange tree, an orange tree. From this little seed, which died, got buried, and then broke down totally, came this huge orange tree. So like that's what happens to each one of us when we die. We die when we're alive. We go through things that make us want to die. And we die. But from the death, we're like a seed. And from the death comes a whole new life, a whole greater life. And I see it in you. I see a new life. I see that you're going to be, and you are like a greater person now. You're like a greater person. And like, if somebody else goes through what you went through, you will be able to help them. you will be able to help them. And if you want to get over what happened, if you want to get over what happened and go on with your life and be happy, if you want to go on and be happy, this is the key. The key is you don't think about yourself. Don't think about your tragedy. We don't want to do that. We don't want to think about our own tragedy. That will just make us crazy. We'll just keep replaying the event over and over and over in our mind. If we want to go on and be happy, you have to think of other people. You have to think of other people who were raped and how you can help them. And think of things that you could say to help them and become a helper. Because if we just think about ourselves, we're going to drive ourselves crazy. But if we think about other people who were raped and how we could help them, and we're making like some kind of book or manual how we could help them, that's how we heal, and that's how we feel better and we feel happy again. It's all about thinking of other people. And I want you to know something about rape. First of all, rape is very, very common these days, and you are going through it with hundreds of millions of other women that are going through it, because this is a sick, satanic world. It's a sick, satanic world, and therefore people are not keeping the no-hide laws. They're bumping into walls. They're getting hurt. And hundreds of millions of women have been raped, unfortunately. Noah himself, Noah was raped. Did you know that? Did you know that Noah
Yes.
was raped?
Yes.
You read that?
His son, Ham,
His son,
Son.
his son, Ham.
Ham.
He raped his father. Also, the first Jewish daughter was named Dinah. You ever heard of Dinah?
Yes.
Yes.
Daughter of Leah and Jacob.
Yes, exactly. So she was also raped. She was raped. Dinah was raped. Noah was raped, and Dinah was raped, and many people after that. Because this is a sick, satanic world, and people do not know about the 7 no-hide laws, and they do not know what is right and what is wrong, because they worship idols instead of worshiping God. If they would worship God, they would know exactly what's right and what's wrong. But they worship idols, so they have no idea what's right and what's wrong. They make up their own ideas of what's right and what's wrong. And that's what this whole class was about. So Noah, Dinah, and light and darkness. God just wanted to create the darkness right away. He loved creating the darkness because he knew that darkness will create the deepest, greatest, most beautiful light. And when people are violated, they often feel like their most private part of themselves, most intimate part of themselves, has been violated. That's what they think, right? They think the most secret, private place in myself was violated. But that's not true, because the truth is our body is not our deepest self. Our body is not really ourself. Our soul is ourself. And the soul is untouchable. No one can touch your soul. They can only touch your body. No one can touch anyone's soul. That's why you can decide to be happy. If you decide to be happy, you will be happy, because nobody can touch your soul. That's your soul. That's your free choice. That's your decision. If you decide you want to be happy, no matter what, you will be happy no matter what. It's your decision. So it's not your deepest part has been violated. It's your soul is not touched. Nobody can touch your soul. And I'll just tell you, I'll tell you a little bit of something from another religion, from Hinduism. I don't usually teach Hinduism. That's not my job. I'm a rabbi. But sometimes they say some things that are true. Sometimes. And one of the things that's true in Hinduism, what I learned from a Hindu guru, is that when tragedy happens, 99% of the suffering is not from the tragedy. 99% of the suffering is from the memory of the tragedy.
Yes.
The tragedy is over. The tragedy is gone. The tragedy doesn't exist. Only now exists. This exists. God's creating this moment. But we take the memory and we bring it into the present. But we don't have to do that. We don't have to take the memory of the tragedy and bring it into our present. We can leave the memory in the past. We can leave it in the past and just live a good life. A life filled with helping other people and spreading light and spreading the Noahide laws. A good life. The memory, we do not have to bring it with us into the present. The memory of the tragedy can stay in the past. Can stay in the past. And there are many techniques that people use how to deal with a bad memory. Because that's your problem now. Your problem now is not the tragedy. You know, your problem is the memory, right? Am I right or am I wrong? It's the memory.
Right.
It's the memory of the problem, not the problem. It's the memory of the problem. So there are different techniques like how to deal with a memory. And a memory is a picture. It's like a picture. It is a picture. And what you can do is like, what is a color that makes you happy? You know, what color makes you happy?
Purple.
Purple. Okay. And what shape makes you happy? What shape?
Diamond.
Everyone says diamond. I don't know why that is. Everyone says diamond. It's a very happy shape. there must be a reason from God. There must be a reason from God why diamond. Usually they say pink and diamond, you know. So if you take your memory of the tragedy and you turn that picture purple, so what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the memory? It's now that it turned purple, it's a little bit more happy, right? It's a little bit more positive. So you take the memory and you turn it purple. Then you take the memory, you turn it into a diamond. Now it's even more happy. Then you take the memory and you turn it into a cartoon. Now it's a cartoon. Now it's more happy. Then you take the memory and you put some funny music behind it. Now it's even more happy. Then you take the memory and you make, instead of going forwards, it's going backwards. You make the whole memory go backwards. Everybody's doing everything in reverse. Now it's more happy. You see, you can just keep changing the memory. You can do anything you want with the memory. You have that total free choice, that option, because your soul cannot be touched. Your soul cannot be violated. Your soul cannot be exposed. Your soul nobody can do anything to your soul. Totally indestructible. And that means you have the free choice to be happy. And being happy means also to change your memory as you wish. You can change your memory to be into anything that you want, because 99% of what you suffer is from the memory. So change the memory to anything that you want. Change it completely. Because the only problem is the memory. The tragedy is over. It's gone. It's done. It's finished. Anyway, does that make sense?
Yes.
Hinduism talks a lot about memory. It's very important, you know. Hinduism has some truth to it, you know. There's some truth to it, but they don't have God, you know, and that they're missing a big thing there, you know. If you're missing God, you're missing 99% of religion, you know. You have any other questions?
Yeah,
No, brother.
yeah, I have a question about regarding kosher. What is kosher and kosher thing, no? Regarding kosher? Last.
You want to know about kosher for Jews or kosher for non-Jews?
Non-Jews. I think we need to know both. So can you make a detailed topic in the next class, or you need time for that?
For this question?
Yes.
It's okay. We'll answer this question and then we'll end it.
Okay.
So non-Jews only have one kosher law. There's only one kosher law for non-Jews. And that is to not take a limb off a live animal. That's the only law about kosher for non-Jews. But that means certain things. Like, first of all, let's say you wanted, like Abraham served his guests tongue. So someone who wants to eat tongue might think, well, I don't really need to kill the animal to eat the tongue. You know, I'll just cut off the tongue and eat the tongue. Cannot do that. That is a limb off of a live animal. The tongue is a limb off of a live animal. So people could make that mistake. Also, in America, if you buy meat that is not kosher slaughtered, oftentimes they stun the animal. See, the animal is like running around, you know, like in the slaughterhouse, the animal is like running around. They have to like stop it from running around. So they will stun the animal with like a stun gun, some kind of stun gun. They stun the animal so it like sort of like faints, like so the animal won't run anymore. Because the animal is running around, you know, so they have to stun it. They like put like a gun to their brain, and it like stops them from moving. So they stop the animal from moving, right? It's stunned, and then they start cutting it up. They're cutting it up, but it's still alive. They didn't kill it; they just stunned it. But they stun it, then they cut it. They never killed it. So that's a limb off of a live animal. The animal is still alive. They stunned it, but they didn't kill it. They stun it, cut it, eat it. That's a limb off a live animal. That's violating the no-hide code. Violating the no-hide code. So you can't do that. So a no-hide, if they want to eat meat, they have to buy it from a kosher supplier. You know, they have to buy it from a kosher slaughterer. You do not have a kosher slaughterer.
No.
So
I think Muslims
No.
Muslims slaughter in a
Proper
They
way.
pray and slaughter.
pray and slaughter. That is here Hindus also accept that. If Muslims slides, that is correct like that.
If
Because they
Muslim is,
pray.
they think that a Muslim slaughter is a good slaughter.
I
It's
don't
holy.
I don't trust them. I don't trust them.
Yes, yes, even I don't trust. Mom,
Yes, they are not, I know, they are not doing properly.
Even if they say they're doing a kosher slaughter, I don't trust them. I don't believe that they're actually doing it. So you have to get from a proper Jewish Orthodox slaughterer. I do not trust halal.
yeah, halal.
Halal.
Yeah.
Yes, halal. Yeah. So,
I do not trust it. I mean, do you trust it?
no,
No.
but we only can have that. That is the only option what we have.
I thought you guys are vegetarian.
No, we are non-vegetarian and vegetarian both, but we eat non-vegetarian less.
What do you
We eat
eat?
vegetarian,
What do you eat?
like morning
Vegetable.
bread and vegetables
Vegetables.
and
Pappul and whatever.
pulses,
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 Wheat.
pulses and wheat.
So
Wheat
you
is
don't
made
eat-
like what?
You don't eat meat. You don't eat meat.
No.
Wheat.
Meat.
So that's good. So you're good. You're good. Don't eat meat until you have a proper Orthodox Jewish slaughter. Don't eat any meat. No, I wouldn't eat any meat. It's
Egg. What about egg?
eggs are fine. Yeah, no problem. Eggs are no problem.
Okay, so we can eat egg. No,
And,
no.
and fish is no problem.
And fish and prawns.
Fish is no problem. Eggs are no problem. Dairy is no problem.
Prawns.
What is that?
Prawns is lobsters.
No
No,
problem.
you cannot eat lobsters. No.
No, lobster is prohibited. Lobster is prohibited.
Actually, wait a minute. No. I'm thinking of Jews. You could eat lobsters. No, you could eat lobsters. Yeah, you could. Only Jews cannot eat lobsters. Jews cannot eat lobsters. Non-Jews could eat lobsters.
Mm.
And all seafood. I was thinking about Jewish people, but it specifically says that in the Bible that we cannot eat the seafood, but non-Jews are allowed to eat that. Yeah.
Okay. Prayer. Can you
Closing.
do a closing prayer and a blessing for us?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to bless everyone here with happiness, joy. I want this light that we have to spread all over
Yes.
India and all over the world. The light starts here. This is where the light starts. And we then shoot out to the rest of the country and the rest of the world. So I want to bless this class that it should grow and grow and grow. We should have hundreds of people in this class. We should have thousands of people in this class. We should have tens of thousands of people in this class. We should have this class on a TV, big jumbo screen, going out to hundreds of thousands of people with big speakers. Let's have this class go out to all of India. Maybe it will be on TV one day. Maybe one day we'll be on TV.
Yes. Thank you.
I mean, Nachman, can you arrange that? Can you arrange that for half an hour on Indian TV? It's just this class. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, we can try that. We can try and make a separate channel. We can try on a channel. Yes.
I mean, if I have the money, we can do it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we can get on TV.
There are several channels which do that. I think which Jewish channel it may permit, but we
Bless
can
you.
still. I think we can do a YouTube live.
Oh yeah, YouTube Live.
That's more better than the channel. people can join, because nowadays traffic is more on online YouTube.
Okay, so we should do that, you know.
Yeah, that's what we have to do next.
I bless this class that its light should spread all over India and all over the world, that each one of us should be filled with light, should be filled with fire, the fire of godliness. Each one of us should feel this fire. I
Yeah.
feel it. I feel it. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get you to feel it.
Yes.
Do you feel it?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
You feel the fire inside in your heart?
Yes.
Yes.
I want every person here, their hearts to always be warm. My the founder of the Hasidic movement was named the Baal Shem Tov, and he took a student and he put his hand on his heart, and that student said that ever since he put his hand on his heart has been warm.
Yeah.
So I want to bless you that your heart should always be warm, and you should
Yes.
always be happy, and you should always have a smile on your face.
Yes. Yes.
I want to bless you that you shouldn't know any health problems. You shouldn't know any financial problems. But I want you to know that the real way to be rich is to be happy with what you have.
Yes.
If you are happy with what you have, you are rich. And believe me, you're a lot happier than the billionaires. You're a lot happier than Elon Musk. You know what Elon Musk is going through right now? Do you know what he's going through? Do you know what he's going through? Like,
Peter $8 for blue ticks.
like you know how he bought Twitter? He bought Twitter.
Yeah, he bought Twitter. Yes, 44 billion.
44 billion. He spent $44 billion. And what's happening to him now? Everybody's attacking him. He has the whole world attacking him because he doesn't have God. He doesn't have a rabbi. He doesn't have any idea what he's doing. He's making it all up as he goes along. And everybody's criticizing him. The whole world is criticizing him. Every person is criticizing him for a different reason. So he spent $44 billion for what? To get everyone to criticize him? Now he
Yes.
can't even live. Now he can't even live because everybody's trashing him no matter where he goes. Somebody is angry at him. He has the whole world angry at him. And he paid $44 billion for this. Is this crazy?
Yes. Yes.
Is this not crazy?
Yes. Yes. Very, very crazy.
I don't have $44 billion, but I have you and you and you, and we are all happy with each other. We are all happy with what we have.
Yes.
Each one of us is happy with what we have. So who has a better life? Us or Elon Musk? Tell me.
We have a better life.
We have a better life. And do you know that of all the countries in the world, Israel is the 9th most happiest people in the world is Israel. Even though Israel is surrounded by enemies, surrounded by countries which hate it and want to destroy it. And Israel is the 9th most happiest country in the world. Why? Because happiness is not come from things going your way. Happiness comes from having a purpose, having a God, having a purpose. That's what happiness comes from.
Yes.
So that's why Israel is one of the happiest countries in the world, even though they have enemies all around them, because they have a purpose. They realize we are the Jewish people. We have to bring light onto the world. And when you know that and you act that way and you do it, you're happy.
Yeah.
Believe me, there's more happiness in this room right now than Elon Musk will have in his entire life. And it says in the Jewish writings that eventually the Jews will be, they'll be on fire. They'll have the light. And the non-Jews will come to their jacket, pull on their jacket and say, please Jewish person, teach me. Teach me about the light. Teach me about the fire. Teach me about the soul. Please. So the non-Jews will go to the coats of the Jews and say, please teach me about God. Please teach me about God. That's what will happen when the Messiah comes.
Yes.
Everything will turn around. Everything will turn around. Like the people you think had a bad life are really the ones having a good life. And the people who think you have a good life are really the ones having a bad life. Everything will just flip around. And people will say, whoa, what's going on in Gujarat, India with this class? What's going on with this little class? Why are they so happy? I want some of that happiness. And then everybody's going to be like throwing money at us. Like, take our money, take our money. We just want to know how to be happy. We just want to be happy. You know, because like for a lot of Christians, you know, Jesus is making them happy. Jesus.
Yes, yes.
But this Jesus is an idol. He's just another idol. So idols can make you happy. But the day is coming when God will remove all the idols from the world. So all these Christians that today they're getting happy because of this idol called Jesus, God's going to take that away. And they're not going to feel any joy in Jesus anymore. They're not going to feel it. And they're going to come running to me. They're going to come running to you and you and you. They're going to come running to each one of us saying, please, teach us how to get the happiness back. We want the happiness back. Everybody just wants happiness. And we have it. And they're going to want it. They say, please, teach us. Teach us about God. Teach us about the 7 Noahide laws. Teach us about the soul. Teach us about the fire. Teach us about the love. We have it, and they don't have it. They're miserable. $44 billion for everyone to attack you, to
That
become
was too
miserable.
expensive, but very, very cheap to get insulted. Okay, we're ending the class.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll stop recording. Okay.
Yeah.
God bless everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.